Yeah, we're going to pose a question straight off, everybody. Let us know in the comment section below, because I know there's a lot of sort of, it's not just the Sunderland fans and Leeds and Burnley, etc. And we'd have Forest, Villa fans, Wolves, West Ham, etc. We're going to pose a question. If none of the three went down, who are your three to go down? Let us know in the comment section below, because that is probably the trickiest question. Should we answer this, lads? Should we just answer this off the bat, or are we going to avoid that?
I'll throw Brentford straight in, Connor, even probably before Wolves and West Ham, just because of your inertia argument you made at the start of the season and all the change. So I'd throw Brentford in.
Yeah, okay, let's each go for a club then. I am going to go Wolves in there as well, with Vitor Pereira. I think it's been a little bit of a change around for them, but I think they're lacking a little bit of X factor. I think they're going to have a big January for me. So Wolves would be the team that I would throw in. Matt SB?
Yeah, disclaimer, I would have taken Wolves, but Connor's nabbed that. I will throw West Ham in there. I know it's obvious to go for the other team that's down there at the minute, but the underlying numbers are not great. I will say I do expect Nuno to start getting something out of these players. And when we come onto the schedule, they've got some big winnable games coming. But for now, I have got concerns over West Ham.
Okay, well, the first game of the weekend, lads, Leeds United losing out to Tottenham Hotspur 2-1 in a weird game. Very, very weird game. Leeds, once again, winning the XG Cup, but still not been able to really be profitable in front of goal. A few, blunt efforts again from Dominic Calvert-Lewin, of which isn't a problem, but his overall game, I think, is excellent for Leeds at this moment in time. So he's a real facilitator, really helping Leeds, but striker's job is to put the ball in the back of the net. Leeds just looking a little bit blunt at this moment in time, whilst creating chances. There are options from the bench, but I thought Spurs in this game really showed why they're a top side. Really, I thought it doesn't measure in XG, and obviously that's why you can't just take football on XG, but I thought there was a lot of moments of which maybe the ball was flashed across the box, which obviously, unless there's a contact on the other side, doesn't qualify as XG. I thought there was a couple of moments of which, after Spurs scored that first, a second or a third could have quite easily gone in, but Leeds dug in. And I thought towards the end, we're actually quite unlucky not to get a point. But we are talking again about Leeds deserving something and not getting something, Matt SB.
Yes, I was actually going to come on to that. I know, Connor, you watched the game live, but obviously I'm looking at the numbers. I've watched the highlights as well. And yeah, surprisingly, Leeds with a lot more of it and obviously not getting a result. You've got to take the positives still. You're above a point per game. The other teams down there this weekend, none of them picked up a win. So that's something. You stay above the bottom three. Okafor looked good. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, as you say, lively. Longstaff, decent. Probably Darlow's worst game, but I will say there was 2 deflected goals, so it doesn't help, of course. But I think he only made the 1 save in the game.
The Athletic have also, interestingly, just to add to your point there, Matt, have put Sean Longstaff as the 5th best signing in the Premier League this transfer window, which is interesting, just to add to your point.
Yeah, absolutely. And we always say Premier League experience is key, don't we? But yeah, I mean, the XG numbers should mean something surely going forwards, and they've been pretty good all season. And then once again, I did say about the quick responses. We've seen every time Leeds have gone behind, a matter of 10 minutes later, they're back in the game. I know they've gone on to lose this one, but they're very competitive. And it is a difficult game ticked off as well. So, yeah, you look at the next couple of games, Burnley, West Ham, and there's Forest in there as well between the next international break. Got to tick off at least 4 more points to stay above that point per game. But on this game alone, the performance is all right. Obviously, the result just very frustrating.
Yeah, Ben. Once again, it's very difficult to analyze this game. It's just, Spurs are better. They didn't generate that much, but when you've got a 4th striker coming on in Richarlison, Brazil's number 9, who's got 5 goal contributions in 6 and starts behind Tel, Kolo Muani and Dominic Solanke, and he would be starting for Leeds week in, week out if we had someone like Richarlison, obviously. I'm just kind of a bit like, okay, yeah, it sort of is what it is for this one. I know it's not hyper analysis, but
it's just you don't want the games to drift by like that, where you say, oh, it's a coin flip game. It's reasonably even. Maybe Leeds had the better of it. And oh, if it's a coin flip game against any of the 17, you lose. You don't want that to be the narrative, do you? You want to be fighting and, oh, it wasn't a coin flip game. We had a really, really good go at them. Oh, they had this period of the game, but we did all this. The worry I've got, Connor, is when you use the word blunt, because how do you solve blunt? You either get better finishes or you make better chances, which is difficult to do inside of a season and outside of a transfer window. Look, Leeds have got quality players who can score low probability chances, but I do worry, mate, when you say the word blunt.
Yeah, understandable. I think the generation of chances, I think it is an interesting one. I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin potentially could have had 3 against Bournemouth, I think, and I'm not just putting it down to DCL, but he is the 100 grand marker signing, of which, Leeds fans are like, well, that is our number 9, obviously. Tottenham, there's a big chance inside the area. I don't know if you guys saw it, but there's a mistake. Bentancur, lost it.
Can you see him starting to take these, though?
No, I can't. And the reason behind that is because I think I think with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and we did previously have a striker who is quite similar to this, but I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin is much better than Patrick Bamford. But I think there is a high volume of chances needed, but he's excellent systematically for Leeds. He's brilliant. You can't take him out. He's a target man. He gets Leeds out of high pressure situations. He's good at dragging other players into play, getting us up the pitch, winning free kicks. So there's so many sort of other areas of his game where he's actually heavily complete, and obviously which is what got him his England call up, and what under Ancelotti was, he's one of the best strikers in the Premier League. But it's getting back to that. I guess the good thing is he's not injured straight off the bat, but the chances have got to turn around, I think, Ben. I think the chances have got at some stage. It's
okay what you described, and I'll bring Ipswich into it for the first time today. Ipswich
ding, ding, ding.
Ipswich have George Hurst up front. Connor, his job's not to score 25 goals. His job's to lead the press, punch holes, link, and give the ball to the 3 behind him. So it's not that it sounds ridiculous. If you're a fan who's watched in the 80s and 90s, and I say a striker's job is not to score goals, you're like, what are you talking about? But you can get the goals from elsewhere, can't you? Or can you?
Yeah, I think interesting that comparison, though. I think Ipswich's dynamite front line in the Championship is something of which maybe is going to take the pressure off Hurst. I think with Leeds, you're looking at Brendan Aronson, Okafor, Longstaff, and we're talking about Premier League here. So there's just been opportunities of which I think Leeds, and I think that's where Leeds fans' frustrations are. I think we're playing well, we're happy with the performances. Matt's quite rightly mentioned the points per game, which is important. I think it is it's a big thing. Leeds starting to put some of these chances away. I mean, Willie Gnonto looks like he's coming back. There's selection headaches between Altanaka now, I think, and Anton Stark. Jacobiol's on the bench. There's conversation about him maybe coming in for Pascal Struijk at some point. So there are selection headaches there for Farke. But these 2 games coming up, and for Burnley as well, and for West Ham, are absolutely massive Goliath games for Leeds, because we were speaking about Sunderland, guys, beforehand and saying, well, it's a different sort of pressure, isn't it? Needing to win. And they did need to win at the start of the season, and they did win. Leeds United are getting into 2 games of which now, Burnley and West Ham, they've got to be targeting 4 points, and obviously it's vice versa with those 2 as well. They've got to be targeting the Leeds game, I think. So, as I say, Leeds 1, Spurs 2. Less said about that, the better. But
can I say as well, Connor, there is quite a clear pattern here with teams doing poor against Leeds in terms of the numbers, because we said this about Bournemouth, and then who was it the week before? And Spurs I know they've won, but their numbers in this game weren't great. So that is once again something to take away for Leeds. They're making decent teams look ordinary.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if I was to ask you guys, I mean, what are your thoughts on the situation now with Leeds is just a starter offer? Is it Ben, when you look and you look at the underlying numbers, but you watch Leeds with the eye test as well, do you think it's been a strong start? I mean, I look at Leeds and maybe they've just been bested properly by Arsenal, and it's probably quite a strong start if you're looking at Leeds, but it is obviously, Jesse Marsh used to always talk about these performances sometimes over points, and it used to get largely frustrating for Leeds fans, but those points have to come, but the performances are encouraging.
It's so difficult, isn't it? Because Jesse Marsh, don't shoot me down, is right that you need viable performances over a long period of time. Unfortunately for football managers, that the proof is in the pudding. Then if you don't win, then you sound very silly, don't you? Because you're basically saying you didn't do a good enough job. You had the performances and you couldn't turn them into wins, which is literally your job. I mean, it's very easy for me to sit and say, ask me after Burnley, West Ham and Forest across the next 4 games. But if I can frame it, Connor, in a way of if this standard was maintained throughout the next portion of games up to Christmas, I think you'd probably be pretty happy with that, wouldn't you? You know, in games, look, you can lose games in the Premier League, aren't you? It's just... And one thing I'm not seeing here is back-to-back defeats, and that's so vital, isn't it? Just stop, get a draw after a defeat, and get a win in there. But I'm sure Matt's about to correct me and say, "Well, draws are irrelevant. You need wins." But I wouldn't be too unhappy with it. And you can call that Fulham defeat. We discussed it on the show, didn't we? You call that Fulham defeat unlucky that could have gone the other way, and even this Spurs one, but. You can't have too many of them add up where we're going, it's all well and good. All these defeats, they're great. They're fine.
Well, Ben, interestingly enough, you can comment on this. There's been a rhetoric a little bit on Ipswich. Ipswich are what is being framed as the beginning of last season in the Premier League. Ipswich were losing games by fine margins a lot of the time, and the quality came to the fore. In your opinion, is there a difference? We'll just focus on Leeds for this, but is there a difference between Ipswich and Leeds United in terms of maybe squad depth, caliber, whatever it may be, in your opinion?
Well, the big difference is that Leeds got wins early in the season. So, yeah, Ipswich were in games and performed quite well and literally didn't win until, I can't remember when the first win was, like November time or something ridiculous. And, of course, the big difference is that... you won't thank me for saying Leeds famously had the most highly paid team to not get promoted from the Championship 2 seasons before they went up. They had a well-stocked squad, obviously, with the 100-point season, and Ipswich were kind of, as we've said before, fixing the plane while it's in the air, building a Premier League team on the fly. So you can easily argue Leeds are better all round as a club to survive than Ipswich were.